Hey guys, welcome back to episode 3 of the 6-part series. Today, as we mentioned yesterday, we're coming to you with our National League Central predictions. This division, Maddie, this was a little bit of a tough one, kind of a juggernaut, if you will. I have the Cardinals taking this division as they did a year ago. NLCS team a season ago lost to the Nationals in the NLCS, but a good team. I got them followed by the Cubs. Cardinals going 33-27. Cubs just one game behind at 32-28. How about you, Maddie?
Yeah, so I actually have, I guess what we could say, a tie. I mean, that's really what it is. I do technically have the Cubs in first place, but tied with the Cardinals at 32-28. I'm not sure how they're going to do this year because of this circumstances with trying to make sure they get the playoffs in just in case there's a second wave of the coronavirus.
Right.
So I don't know if there's going to be a tiebreaker based on an actual game, but if there is, I'd say the Cubs and the Cardinals play a tiebreaker game at Wrigley Field. That's my prediction. 32-28. The Cubs win the season series, so they play host of the tiebreaker game. Then I have the Reds following them at 31-29, only one game behind. I think they're ready to take a step forward. And then the Brewers fourth, as I believe, as good as Christian Yelich is, he's not enough to carry them right now. I think that their team is lacking depth in the rotation and in the bullpen. I know they have Josh Hader, one of the best relievers in the game.
Yep.
I just don't think that they have enough pitching to be able to win this division and make the playoffs as a wild card team. I do think that it's a tough division, though. I have all four of those teams winning 30 games. So I think, look, very similar to National League East, things could go either way based on one blown save here or one bad start here by a rotation member.
Yep. Yeah, the way I sum up this division is 4 above average at best teams. That's the way. None of these teams are really going to, I don't think, compete for a World Series. I don't think they're going to scare anybody in the playoffs. Maybe the Cubs a little bit just because they've been there before and they got some big bats like their infield. Guys like Chris Bryant and Anthony Rizzo, David Besh and Javi Baez. The reason I have the Brewers at 3 and the Reds at 4, I mean, every year I say, listen, this Brewers team doesn't have enough pitching to win. But somehow every year they either get in the playoffs or 2 years ago, I think they made the NLCS. Their lineup carried them. The Reds, they have a great pitching staff, and I'm going to highlight that a little bit later. One of their really, diamond in the rough pitchers on that staff. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But for me, this Reds lineup is not built to win games just yet. So I have them at 27-33. Listen, they're a good team with a really good starting rotation, but their lineup needs a lot more work. And then the Pirates, we're not going to waste our breath talking about them. They're way at the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, no, they're done.
Going to be a really tough division, in my opinion. That Cardinals-Cubs rivalry is going to be back. I got the Cardinals edging by a game, NLCS team a year ago. Couple good pitchers on that team, but losing their closer, Jordan Hicks, is going to hurt.
Yeah, it's going to hurt them for sure. But I mean, look, Jack Flaherty took huge strides last year. Maybe be one of the best pitchers in baseball, not just in the division. So I do think that the Cardinals have talent.
Right.
I know that Marcell Ozuna elected to leave to go to the Atlanta Braves, but look, I mean, the Cardinals may have one of the best outfield prospects in baseball, and Dylan Carlson, who could be the National League MVP this year if he gets enough playing time. So I do think that he'll jump right in and fill that void that Ozuna left. I think they're a good team. I don't know. Something about the Cubs, something's telling me I shouldn't like the Cubs. Something's telling me I should. I don't know why. I just feel like they have so much talent, yet they've just not performed to the highest level that they could since 2016 winning the World Series.
Right. Change up their manager with David Ross this year. They got rid of Joe Madden, so maybe that's, gives a little bit of a spark plug within the clubhouse. But this is kind of almost like a crapshoot, these two teams. It's probably going to be one of these two teams, the Cardinals or the Cubs, that win this division. We'll see who it is. You're going Cubs. I'm going Cardinals. Can't go wrong with either team. So, Maddie, give me your breakout player for the National League Central.
I actually have 2. I don't know if that's breaking the rules here.
That's breaking every single rule that this sportscast was founded on one rule only, and that's one play. No, I'm just kidding. Give me both.
Well, my first guy is on my third place team, the Cincinnati Reds, is Nick Senzel, one of the top prospects in baseball. Yeah. I feel like he kind of got thrown right into the middle of the fire of not such a great situation. If I remember correctly, he's a natural third baseman.
I was going to say he's an infielder by trade, but they had no choice. They had to put him in the outfield a year ago.
Right. So. Yeah. So they threw him in center field. And I mean, look, 12 home runs, 42 RBIs in the top of a lineup that just wasn't great last year.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, look, I think that he still has boatloads of potential. That's why, I mean, he was one of the best prospects in baseball. I mean, you don't just become that overnight.
Yeah.
You have to have a little bit of a pedigree. So I do think that he has a real possibility to bounce back, especially because they're not going to be relying on him to do much. They added a lot of firepower to that rotation, that lineup with Mike Moustakas signing, Nick Castellanos, and the Shogo Akiyama. Yeah, Shogo Akiyama from Japan. So I think that they're a pretty loaded offensive team, the Reds now. And just to touch on one last, my other guy is Ian Happ on the Chicago Cubs. Another guy who I think for a while has had a lot of potential.
The tools, but just never puts it together.
Yep, I'll never forget. I watched him hit a grand slam in the first inning against the Mets at Citi Field, which as a baseball fan going to the stadium and seeing your team give up 4 runs in the first inning is a real blow to it. I mean, nothing's worse than that.
I'll put the wind in the sails.
But I do think this is the year Ian Happ steps up and becomes a bigger part of that Cubs lineup. So that's all I'll have to say about that. Yeah. What about you?
So for me, even though this guy was really good last year and definitely took the league a little bit by storm, I have Luis Castillo, the pitcher on the Cincinnati Reds, starting pitcher. I mean, a season ago, listen, he was really, really good. He put up a 15-8 record on an okay Reds team with a 3.4 ERA. I think this year, maybe my bold prediction, we're talking about Luis Castillo for that National League Cy Young by the end of this year. I think he has that good – his talent is that good. His limit and his ceiling is so high. That changeup is just absolutely filthy, keeps hitters off balance. Guys like Trevor Bauer in that rotation, Luis Castillo and Sonny Gray. You know, I think Castillo, by the end of this year, we're going to have his name in that National League Cy Young conversation. You're going to hear names like DeGrom, Scherzer, Strasburg, and Luis Castillo. You're hearing it here first, baby. The kid's going to be an absolute star.
I could say it.
Let's keep things rolling here with our division MVP. Maddie, who do you got?
I got Kris Bryant. I think
former MVP.
Absolutely. Going back to my prediction that the Cubs are the technical best team in this division, I think that Kris Bryant finally gets back to that MVP type form that he had when he won it in 2016. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Solid year last year. 31 home runs, 77 RBIs, batting .282 with a 3.7 WAR. I think that he can elevate that a little higher. The home run numbers were obviously inflated last year, so who knows, like, if that was just a result of an inflated ball. I think he could drive in more guys, and I think that he could get on base a little bit better. He had a .903 OPS, though, so good year last year. I think that he carries the Cubs to the top of his division.
Nice. I mean, listen, that's a great option. I was torn between Javi Baez, who was a breakout star last year. I mean, he's been a great player in the league for years, but I ultimately went with old reliable Christian Yelich, former MVP, second MVP voting a season ago, 30-30 guy. Anybody with that kind of talent, you have to give a nomination and consideration for the MVP.
Absolutely.
Dude's an absolute stud. Christian Yelich plays a great outfield, and he really drives that entire Brewers team. Ever since they got him, that team has just taken 10 steps forward going towards the playoffs. I still don't think they're that good of a team, but Yelich at the end of the day is so good. And remember, for those of you watching at home, this is not our league MVP. We're doing our divisional MVP, and we'll do our league MVP and all that in a whole nother series. Don't worry about that. But thank you guys so much for watching. Tomorrow, we're going to stay in the Central, just the other side of the league, American League Central, coming up tomorrow.